G'day, ZiggyD here. Now, as you guys can see, the new race season in Path of Exile starts in about 10 hours. As you can see down the right-hand side here, we've got the next 3 upcoming races, and this will always be up to date with the upcoming races. We did have a few practice races, but this is the start of the actual season. Now, since probably a quarter or so, maybe even more of you guys who are watching this are pretty new to Path of Exile, a lot of you guys came with patch 1.0.0, you've probably never played in or seen a race before, unless you happen to jump in on some of those practice races. Now, I've done quite a few races. I've never been a exceptional racer, but this season I want to really get into it really hardcore. I've done the Nemesis thing, been playing really well on that, really enjoying that, and I'd love to get into the race season much more strongly this time around, because I think racing in Path of Exile is one of the things that really sets this game apart from other action RPGs. You know, the depth of the game mechanics and planning out builds and things like that is like already one thing, but having this entire race thing, these actual race events of different types of race events, is pretty insanely awesome. So hopefully I want to get you guys excited to do these as well, and I want to get you guys involved. So I'm going to talk about some of my plans, maybe some of my plans for coverage, and some things you can look at to gear yourself up for racing. So first, let's go actually take a look at the race season 5 here. As you can see, we have a full roster here of the entire, pretty much, I think it's like, I don't know how much they have listed here, until December it looks like. And as you can see, there's many races per day. Now these change, there's a lot of different types of races. Here, just on the first day, you can see there's a 2-hour solo race. So basically, in this is just a race through the straight game. You play the campaign as per normal. You just try and play it as fast as you can. And this is originally what races were, and they're really fun to try and competitive PvE, essentially, to see who can clear the game the fastest. And the top people in each class get awarded points, and the very top people even get some specific unique prizes you can't get elsewhere. But we've got other types of races as well now. We've got this one here's the 1-hour endless ledge, which is kind of just like, if you like ledge farming, this is the race for you, because it's zone after zone of point A to point B, ever increasing difficulty of zones. It's kind of this infinite run of different zones, and you just progress through them. You can't go back. There's no going back to town. You just have to go with whatever items you find, and they're a ton of fun. Now, I've done a commentary on Endless Ledge before. I've actually done quite a few race commentaries and guides. There's a playlist here. I'll link this down in the description for you guys. But as you can see, I did a Endless Ledge race. I think you guys can just see it there. Endless Ledge race, and I managed to get top 20, and that was the first ever Endless Ledge, and that was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun with that. It's tough, but it's very, very satisfying. Racing takes a fair bit of practice to get into, but once you've actually started to play a few, you'll pick it up, and you'll become much more better at the game overall as well. But there's other types as well. We've got the 1-hour Descent race, which is similar to Endless Legend, that you can't go back to town. The new Descent League I'm very excited for. Basically, it's kind of set up as this themed, in a different time in Rayclast, where the nobles would get together. They created this dungeon, this trial run of dungeons, and they would have like heroic champions come and try and defeat the trials, try and defeat the dungeons. And you are one of those heroic champions, and you're racing to see who can get the most XP without dying, or the most XP even with dying, and just seeing how far they can get in that 1-hour period. Now, the really exciting thing about this one is this race actually has uniques created specifically for it. I'll link this image in the description below, because you guys will want to check this out and plan a little bit around which one of these items you're going to take, because you can only take one, at least initially. And these are some pretty interesting uniques. These are not in the game at all anywhere else. You can see they each have 3 white sockets, so you can put any gem combination in them you want, and you're probably going to use this for most of the race unless you find something else really insanely good. So we've got some pretty interesting things here, like there's this crude bow here where projectiles return to you. We've got this blade here where you shock nearby enemies for 2 seconds when you kill a shocked enemy, so kind of this proliferation effect there. We've got the gnarled branch with extra range and reflect damage on block. We've got a driftwood club that ignites enemies for 500 increased ignite duration. There's the hatchet here that slows and chills enemies and avoids you getting chilled yourself. There's a wand there with a chance to freeze, shock, and ignite, and there's a glass shank that grants power charges. Pretty exciting stuff, and you'll want to plan your builds around this. I'm thinking myself I'm going to try and make some sort of ranger that uses this driftwood club. That sounds pretty fun, but I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm still in the planning process. So Another tool you'll want is the passive skill tree planner. For any sort of race, whether you're just doing a general one, you want to plan your build for that race period. Now, if you're doing a 1 hour race, that means you're only planning out like 10 to 20 points max. And this is a completely different game from planning other builds. You want to think about, okay, when am I getting each of these things in this race period and how are they going to help me? So, for example, if I was going to plan out a ranger, let's just reset this one here. And I'm thinking, okay, right at the very start of the game, I don't need any life straight away. I want to try and increase, my damage as much as possible, just try and make things a bit more useful. So I'm probably going to pick up the attack speed node first. It's going to help me out right at the start of the game. Then, what do I want? I probably want all these life and evasion nodes to help me keep alive as I move through, and because I'm really trying to push really fast. I might have terrible gear. This is going to help me out a bit more. We get a bit more attack speed, then I think, okay, maybe I'm going to potentially find some good one-handers and try and use those, maybe with dual strike or something like that, or maybe I'm going to keep going bows. Maybe I'll want to come up through Heart of the Oak, grab the projectile damage stuff here, and just go flat out damage there if I'm feeling confident. Or you could plan it around and said, maybe I want to go down this way and pick up extra life to be as tanky as possible so I can stay alive. You want to think about each of those different points. Another good example I like to give is if you're playing something like a Marauder, you're going along here. Let's actually switch to the Marauder properly, because this is actually a pretty interesting example I like to give out. Let's say you're playing a Marauder, you're picking up all the life nodes first. You get to about here, and this is around the point where you're getting ready to fight with Veil. Then you think, okay, do I have enough resistances? Have I been able to find a cold resist ring? If not, then I can do something like, okay, I'm going to grab these cold resist nodes here. But if I have found the cold resist ring, I can say, okay, instead, I can go get some damage nodes or something like that. So you have these choices, and it's interesting to look a bit ahead and plan out this stuff. And I do recommend planning, kind of just roughly planning a few different build ideas and looking at the gem rewards and things you can get from the races and all that sort of jazz. But as I said, I've made some guides on how to do this, including some builds that will still work in the general races, and the Endless Ledge ones and things like that are kind of just wing it. But there's other types of races as well. It doesn't just stop there. Pretty exciting. You can probably tell I'm pretty hyped for the new season. But we've got also these crazy mod races where they are normal playthroughs of the game. So, for example, this 1 hour immolation party means that there's pretty much, I think this is where everything deals more fire damage. Let's actually have a look. You can see there's different rule sets in here. Hardcore, no, where does it say immolation? This one's not saying which. There used to be a description of modifiers race, should probably be added again for new players. Okay, so they're missing out on this, but there's different types of ones. Like, for example, I played a Turbo Ancestral Blood Magic race once where all the monsters were super fast and attacked super fast. You had blood magic no matter which character you played, so you had to deal with that. And Ancestral meant that there was totems everywhere, so you had to deal with those as well. There's all these crazy modifiers they put into it. It's kind of like playing endgame maps throughout the normal game, and this makes things pretty interesting. As you can see, we've got solo turbos, we've got 3 hour party races, and then Cutthroat. How have I not even mentioned Cutthroat yet? Cutthroat is a completely different story. It is kind of PvE, but it's also PvP. It's open world PvP. Everyone can invade everyone else's instances and kill each other. And when you kill an enemy, you get 25% of their current experience, and you get all of their gear except for their skill gems. So that's very satisfying. You kind of rush ahead, you try and farm up a little bit, get the gear or skills you want, and then you'll go and try and slay some other players. And the second day is the first Cutthroat event, and I hope all of you guys jump on that. So, I hope to see all you guys getting involved in races. I'll be doing so. If we play some Cutthroat, try and hunt me down. I always enjoy getting hunted down by subscribers and things like that, who then gloat over my dead body, that sort of thing. It's good fun. Cutthroat, all this racing. I'm really psyched for it. Hopefully you guys are too. And I'll be bringing you guys some coverage. I'm definitely going to commentate an Endless Ledge, definitely going to commentate a Descent, and probably some Cutthroat as well. And maybe I'll do some other race commentaries if they turn out any good. But lots to look forward to. Path of Exile, if you thought Path of Exile was insanely good already with just the base game, we're now getting into a whole extra layer of things. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.